Welcome back to Dating Tips with Martin. I'm Martin, and let's get back to exploring some of the great mysteries of the world of dating and relationships. Today's question comes from, like every episode, an anonymous teenager. Anonymous this week writes, is it considered bad to have sex before a certain age? That's another great question. So let's dig in. First of all, let's get one thing out of the way right off the bat. Sex! Okay, phew, I said it, and as far as I can tell, none of us melted. So that's good, we can go on. Now, when the Bible talks about sex, it's always when the Bible is talking about marriage. Well, almost always. They go together. And it's not because the Bible says you can't have sex before marriage. In fact, let's just be honest, that's not in the Bible. At least, not exactly. But there is something about marriage and sex that is connected in the Bible. And that's because sex, and really any relationship, is more than just sex. It's a connection, it's holy, and for the Bible, there was a tie between the physical side of a relationship and the emotional and spiritual sides. They ought to match. They ought to be at the same level. And sex being the deepest physical connection we can make with someone should connect with the deepest emotional and friendship commitments that we can make with someone. I mean, relationships are physical, but they're also emotional. They're spiritual. And listen, sex is good. It feels good. It certainly deepens the connection in a relationship. That's all true. Sex is a good thing. It's a great thing. It's a thing that God made. But at one point, Paul writes that just because we have the freedom to do something doesn't mean that we should. And sex is also really complicated. I mean, sure, the biology of it is pretty straightforward, but as I said, sex isn't just biology. It's not just physical. It's emotional. It's incredibly vulnerable. It's intimate. It's not all just passions and urges. There's so much trust and respect and love that are tied into it. So the short answer to the question is that no, there's no certain age when someone is allowed to have sex. You're not gonna go to hell if you have sex before you get married. And the honest truth is, marriage is so much more than just sex. But the long answer is I do think there is something holy about sex, something spiritual. We're made to be sexual people, and there's not anything to be ashamed of. But that also doesn't mean that we just go around having sex because it feels good to, or to practice, like learning to ride a bike. It's not something we just do to do. It's meant for committed, long-term partners who trust each other intimately and deeply. And in the ways that marriage reflects a commitment of love, of trust, of respect, sex reflects all of those same things, just in a different physical way. And sex shouldn't be the starting point of a relationship. There's something really holy about that connection between people. So I really hope that helps. I can't wait to see you back next time to answer more questions about dating and relationships here on Dating Tips with Martin.